Welcome to the Everquest Next Newsboard for November 5th, 2013. Today in the show, we have the Dev Diary highlights of crafting tools and materials, Roundtable number 10, Private versus Public Building, and the Roundtable number 11, 1 guild per character or more. And with that, let's start off the show, now that the news has finally come in. In the Dev Diary explaining materials and tools, they started off by saying that you'll start off with a copper pick when you first start the game, and you'll be able to gather resources like tin and iron to make better items. Now, I suspect this is going to apply of the tools that they explained, being the pick, the sickle, axe, and bucket. And the bucket was elaborated to be able to carry lava, and I'm assuming like water and different types of liquids, if there are different types of liquids in the game. And with the addition of the sickle, that kind of gives the hint that they are also working on farming, meaning you can grow corn or produce, in which you can either take that to cook yourself or sell it off to other people in hopes of them either cooking something for you or just for a profit, which is very, very interesting. What they also explained with next to the iron tier, when you have an iron pickaxe or something, you'll be able to gather harder items like topazes and silver and other sorts of gems. And they can also, with higher and higher tiers, you can get obsidian and get lava, depending on what I would suspect at a higher tier. With your higher tier bucket, you'll be able to get lava, and lower tiers would simply burn in your hand or melt away. And he also explained to get like really high quality materials, like for the example he gave, a mahogany table, you would have to get like a gold axe, chop down dark wood, and get some other assorted items, and then you'll be able to craft that table, which means there might already be preset made items like the shields and everything shown in some of the alpha screenshots, which we will also show a little bit of that later on in the show. And that's interesting for players like, for me, like I don't have the time to sit there and build really elaborate things. And especially in Minecraft, I love Minecraft, but I really don't want to spend 500 hours on a project. I simply don't have the time. And this is really neat for someone like me who just really wants this certain table or just needs a table, and I can go about, craft some things, and just make it. And if I had the ability to alter it in the future, that would be awesome. They also go on to show different types of materials, like small and large types of cobbles and stones. They've shown snow and ice blocks, crystals and gems, little sand pillars, and just general sand in general, in case you want to make a desert type area or doing it near a beach, which you can kind of make a little sand paths. They also showed various types of wood for flooring, and also wood that can be turned into shingles, which they shown little textured blocks showing that off. There's little round oval object showing riveted metal, a very large iron block, which means you can probably manipulate iron to probably make like iron doors or walls or some sort of jail cell if you so wish. And at the end of the video, they gave a tour of the castle Dave Jordison built, he also released some alpha screenshots, which I showed in the previous episode. And they walk us through, showing us the living room that he made, basically with the same couch and little horn design with little light fixtures on it. They showed us the kitchen, showing us that the braziers there actually had some particle effects to them and some light sources on them. They also visited in the forge area, which actually had a actual lava or very highly heated melted metal forge going on. They also went inside his basement, which is under like a very basic wooden staircase. And once under there, they tease that there is a tunnel inside, and they try to play it off as someone digging inside his area. But I really don't believe that's it. I believe that is a mining shaft in which Dave would occasionally go down to gather some resources, come back up, and forge the materials that he has gained, which gives that whole Minecraft mentality a lot of people had of make an awesome house, but make a little basement with a door or whatever to your mining shaft, have a big ladder down it, and you go there, get your materials, come back home, and you start building your stuff, either altering it yourself or just using preset recipes. More than likely, that's a theory, but I'm really happy with what they've shown so far. Next up, we have the Roundtable number 10, Private versus Public Building. Now, in the Roundtable, they basically explained different options that players can have, and they're going around the whole have a bunch of options route, which is always my favorite route for developers to go on. It's always good to have different options for different people and different preferences. And what they've explained, or first what they emphasize on how this works, you go to a part of the world, you claim that spot, and only you control that plot of land, however big it is or however much you decide to take, and only you can alter it unless you invite your friends to build in that area, or you allow it to be open to anyone who comes across, which they kind of joked around a little bit, saying that could be destructive or whatever. You never know what'll happen. And of course that might be prone to griefing on your part, because if someone decides to make a really phallic object, you might get in trouble, so you might want to consider that a little bit. What they also went over is private building. Now, since they're going to allow whatever you build to be put on Player Studio if customer service allows it, or it's good enough to be put up there, people want the privacy of building their stuff. So if anyone crosses by and if they see it, they can go, that guy has a good idea, I'm going to copy that and improve upon it. And this guy's going to be left in the dust who had the original idea, and the other guy is going to improve on it and make far more money. And you can see how that can start to be competitive in a way if you're trying to sell some stuff on Player Studio, because you can rake in some okay stuff if you make some really high quality stuff. Because with my main thing of PlanetSide 2, I see a lot of people make awesome helmets, and they do make a pretty good profit from those. And the developers seem to be up with that idea, and they understand why it is needed for the players, and it seems they're going to allow that to be an option. They've gone to emphasize as to what I've said before about needing to build private for competitive scenes, and also there might be some little personal reasons, as in, like, for me, like, I'm not the best builder in the world, and I don't want people to see my really crappy creation. I just want that to be a flat piece of land, let people ignore me either experimenting with stuff, seeing if this or that works, and have someone come over and judge me harshly. And like, that would be very embarrassing for some people. And so having that option is cool, and I enjoy it. But they also emphasized on making this as social as possible, which the question of offline mode came up. And developers basically just said flat out, no, that is not the game we're looking for. We want to be all social. And it's also difficult to make an offline mode for an MMO like this, because it would more than likely cause problems. Because some people might want to emulate it and then try making private servers for it. It'd make a big old mess, and we don't want any of that right now. And so it's best to keep it all online where SMB can actually control it a bit and actually monitor it so people won't make any offensive looking buildings. Not to mention, I believe it'll be a little bit better if it was more of a social thing than I'm just going to build all by myself and no one's going to mess with me. Although you can still do that, but it needs to be online for security of the overall game, making sure nothing's being violated and things of the such. So I'm kind of happy they're going with it, but also bummed out, because as much as I listed all that stuff in support of it, I also like to be in offline mode and just be left alone and just build without the requirement of an internet connection. And last on our list, the roundtable number 11, 1 guild per character or more. For the general video, they were more into the push of having multiple channels or multiple contexts. They didn't flat out say, yes, they can be in multiple guilds, but it seems that they were mainly pushing towards that. So one player, because you're going to have one player with tons of classes. Not to mention, they also mentioned crafting classes. I don't know if that was a slip up or not, but that is very intriguing. Knowing that there might be a chef class, a Fletcher class, which is pretty much a guy who makes like bows and arrows and stuff, a blacksmith class, which if that is true, I'm really excited for that. Because knowing that I can possibly go into like a forge and do little mini games, like in I believe Fable 3 did this, to where I do little mini games and stuff, to where I can make either super high quality if I get it perfect all the time, or be low quality if I miss a bunch of times. And if I'm like a bard or something, I can just kind of perform music, and if I'm really good at it and play some DDR type deal or Rocket Band type music, other players can come over to me and just tip me like a piece of gold or something, and I can I can kind of do that, or even have a big band with a whole bunch of bards and players or whatever can actually throw money at us, showing their support and wanting us to play even more awesome music if we're really good, and if we can make our own little custom tracks, like with little keyboard, like for example, the A key to L key being sort of like a keyboard. Well, keyboard on a keyboard, but you know what I mean, like a virtual keyboard or piano keyboard, which we can make music from. That would be freaking awesome. But besides from that, and back to the main topic, due to the fact that you're going to be one character with multiple classes, they want people to have access to multiple play styles. Like one guild's really crafting, one guild's all PvE content, and one guild's all PvP content. And my suggestion was have one major guild that you go into, and that's your core guild. You can't join multiple guilds. You have no access to the other guilds if you're just in that one guild. But that guild can join an alliance. Now, say for example, I'm in a PvE guild. I join an alliance called the Dragon Alliance or something. And in that alliance, we have a PvP guild, a crafting guild, and a roleplay guild. And we have a alliance chat. And say for example, in our PvE guild, we need some crafted armor because we're going to the next tier, or we're going down under into a lava area, and we need, I don't know, some lava resistant stuff. So we contact the crafting guild in our alliance saying, hey guys, we really need some armor for our run here. We will pay you in loot or crafting materials, or give you materials if you make it for us. And they can come and make it. And say that we're going down there and we're like, oh no, a PvP guild is here trying to camp people trying to kill this dragon. Let's call our PvP guild in our alliance. And they come over and they wipe out the other PvPers and they start protecting us as we start killing this dragon. And after we kill this dragon or whatever, we might get the RP guild involved somehow. I'm terrible at trying to get that involved. Or they might just ask the RP guild, hey, could you write an interesting story on how we killed this dragon? And the RP guild might show a story, or if they're really inventive and depending if the classes have like a dancing thing, or like the bard idea I had, they can actually throw a play inside the major towns or whatever on a stage or something, depicting on how this guild took down the dragon, which would be really cool. And that was basically all they kind of said. Pretty much they want multiple channels for one character, but if you want to be in just one guild and one guild only, they're not going to stop you. You will have that option of only being in that one guild, and you don't have to branch in the others. But of course, it kind of brings the worry of players wanting that to be restricted for everybody, so everyone won't be constantly shifting alliances with this guild or that guild. And there can be some problems with it in terms of loyalty wise and actual attendance of their members for certain roles that are needed of them. Like say if there's a very important tank, but he wants to go RP with an RP guild on that day, then he kind of screws that guild over because they needed a tank. And if he was just in that guild, he would be more inclined or more obligated to help them be the tank instead of going off and role-playing. But overall though, I hope that my idea would be implemented in, but I would like to hear your guys' thoughts as well, because I'm sure the developers would like to hear some discussion on this. And with that, guys, thank you all for stopping by and watching. You should be able to find the sources of everything I talked in the description below, where you can sit down, have a read, or have a listen of the videos about the news topics I discussed. And thank you once more for watching. This is brought to you by MMORPG.com, a fantastic site to look over some MMORPG type content of various games. And last but not least, I would like to give a shout out to EQNexus.com, a very prime area to talk about Everquest next, and they have an excellent podcast. I would encourage all of you to check them out. And with that, I'll see you guys next episode.